Well, joining us now on Houston Sports Talk is Houston Cougars' new head coach, Tom Herman. And Coach, first of all, just coming off of signing day, just your opening thoughts a little bit on what you thought of how you guys did on signing day.
I joke with the staff that one of these days I want to be the first head coach that walks up there and says that we're not happy with our class or something crazy like that. Everybody says that they're happy with their class, and we're no exception. I think we addressed some glaring needs at offensive line and at linebacker, and sprinkled in some guys at some other positions that we think could provide some quality depth. And then obviously we had to sign 3 tight ends with there being none on the roster too. So tight end, offensive line, and linebackers were all 3 areas of need that we feel like we addressed very well.
There's a couple local guys, and we're out of Fort Bend. Our listeners be interested in Joshua Jones out of Bush, and then you had another kid out of Elkins as well.
Yeah, Josh Jones was a kid that Dallas Blacklock had a great relationship with. He is our director of high school relations and former Sharpstown head coach. That he had a relationship with the family and kind of got our foot in the door, as we believe, and I think most coaches would tell you recruiting's about relationships, and especially with only 2 weeks and 2 days to try to recruit and go find some guys and hold on to the ones that were already committed. It was tough to build those relationships like you'd want, and so with Coach Blacklock, having that relationship kind of got our foot in the door, and we were able to keep one of Houston area's finest home. Had originally been committed somewhere else and decided to stay home and further his career here at the University of Houston. And then the other young man is Leroy Godfrey, a linebacker out of Elkins High School that I think is going to be his size potential, growth potential is off the charts. He's a big, smart kid, scored very well on the SAT and as well as his GPA. So he's a guy that hopefully could come in and at least provide some quality depth at that position, and then maybe see the field on special teams as well.
I'm going to hit you with the $1 million question that everybody's wondering that follows the Cougars program. How quickly can you get this program to national relevance, and what do you think it's going to take?
How quickly, I don't know. Obviously we live in a world, we live in a society where, it's the microwave society. We want everything now, and we want it fast. And when you're changing a culture and you asked how to get it there, I think that the biggest answer is you've got to change the culture, and sometimes that's easier to do, and sometimes that takes a while. So this team has responded early here in our off-season workouts. I've been pleased with how they have responded to some of the things that we're asking them to do and be accountable for, and kind of drive the culture of toughness and accountability and competitiveness. But how that translates on Saturdays in the fall will yet to be determined, and we've got our work cut out for us in terms of that. But so the timetable, we don't really work under a timetable. It happens when it happens. We're going to try to make it happen as fast as we can.
You look at a program like Boise State, they were able to kind of come from a non-major conference and get themselves involved. Is that sort of maybe an ideal for the Houston Cougar program?
Yeah, I think for them, or for us to look at that model and see how they've done it, and not only kind of flash in the pan, but been able to do it year in and year out and sustain that success has been impressive to see. And I think that's a place that we strive to be. And then you look at earlier models, you don't need to go much farther than Fort Worth, Texas, and see how TCU was able to, before they got in the Big 12, kind of become relevant nationally in a non-autonomous 5 conference. And so there's a few models out there in order to sustain that level of success. I think to have that 1 year flash in the pan is saying something, but to be able to do it year in and year out is something that we strive to do here at Houston.
Besides X's and O's, what did you take away from Coach Meyer that you think you can incorporate here in Houston? And just anything maybe specifically that maybe you can just point to as a fan, they might see something that, oh yeah, I see where he's going with that to make this a really great program.
To win football games, it starts with your offensive and defensive lines, and I'm not sure that in today's football world, I think some people may forget that, but that hasn't changed in the last 100 years, that We need to have a culture of toughness, of physicality up front, that the game is won and lost, whether you're throwing it 50 times a game or running it 50 times a game. Doesn't really matter what your offensive philosophy is or defensive philosophy. You're going to win and lose football games up front with how physical and how tough you are and how accountable you are up front. And then also from Coach Meyer, just from a team management or program management side, I think the alignment of the message that is given to each one of our players, not just from the head coach or even the 9 assistant coaches, but the strength staff, the training staff, the academic staff, everybody has to be on the same page. There can be no hidden agendas, no deviation from the message and the culture. And so staff alignment from a broad spectrum, and then just the physicality and toughness of the two lines up front.
Everything in college football today, more than ever, revolves around the quarterback. Where are you with the quarterback situation? Greg Ward obviously coming back, and he's your guy. Does he fit what the Tom Herman offensive system is going to be?
Good players do. I don't know. I've coached them all from 6 foot, not weighing very much, to 6'5", and cannon of an arm. I think what fits is a guy that can make quick, accurate decisions, get the ball to the right place at the right time, lead his team both on and off the field, and have a competitive drive, that competitive spirit that's unmatched by anybody else on the team. So we'll see. It'll be neat to see how that kind of plays itself out, because again, Greg is the incumbent starter, but it's new terminology, it's a new language. He's learning it the same as Adam Schultz is, the same as Bear Fenimore is. So to see how those guys pick that up and adapt will be an interesting storyline throughout the spring.
How big was it to get Major Applewhite as an assistant and bring him in this program?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, Major's had experience calling plays at the highest of levels, for whether it be at Rice or at Alabama or at Texas. And so for him to come in and he's a sponge right now. It's great that the one thing that I love about Major is that he has obviously been successful where he's been, but has no preconceived ideas that just because they did something a certain way at Texas or at Alabama, that's the way it has to be done. He's an open book right now. He's picking my brain and everybody's brain, trying to learn. And then obviously the way that he coaches the quarterbacks and the experience that he gives us in recruiting, it was a home run hire, in my opinion.
You've got the signees, you've put together the staff. What's your next goal, I guess, or what are the next things that you have to do in the next couple of months? What's next on your agenda?
One, get to know the team. You get a job, and then they send you on the road recruiting for the first month that you have the job, and so it's difficult at that point in time to really even get to know your team. So we're in the middle of some very difficult off-season workouts that we're pushing our guys. We're establishing a culture around here of toughness and accountability, and so I think those are the two biggest things is just to get to know the team, have the team get to know us and the staff, and then start to have that culture of toughness and accountability permeate throughout the locker room.
Outside of winning, is there something specific that you can do or that you've thought about doing as far as getting this community, the city of Houston, more excited about the program?
Yeah, one, it starts with our students. We've got to do a great job. I've got to do a great job as the ambassador of the program of making the students aware that this is their team, that this is, we play for them, not the other way around. They're not here for us. We're here for them, to get the students involved. And then as far as the community is involved, people say that this is a pro town, or this is a pro sports town, or this is it's too big to have a college football team. I disagree. I think the city of Houston is yearning for a hometown college football team, and that's what we're going to strive to give them. And I think it's the old Field of Dreams adage: if you build it, they will come. We got to go out there and win some ball games and be excited about doing it for the city of Houston. But at the same time, I think we can do things. I can do certainly a lot from a public relations standpoint to make sure that this community feels like this is their hometown college football team.
When you got back to Houston, what was the first restaurant that you wanted to go to get some food?
Lupe Tortillas, I think it was the first one. I wanted some pretty good Tex-Mex. You don't find, in my last 6 years spent in Ames, Iowa, and Columbus, Ohio, it's tough to find some quality Tex-Mex. So, any chance, Cyclone Anaya's, any chance I can get to get me some quality fajitas and chips and salsa, man, I'm all for it.
Get a couple of plugs in there and a little spice back into your life as well. So thank you so much, Coach Herman. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can now listen to Houston Sports Talk weekly on 106.1 FM Tuesdays at 5 p.m. And you can hear more of our interviews at HoustonSportsTalk.net. Subscribe for free to our podcast on iTunes or with the Stitcher app.